Hello, and welcome to Panther Sports Zone. I'm Worthington Moore.
And I'm Iman Abraham.
This past Wednesday, the Prairie View A&M men's baseball team took home games 1 and 2 of doubleheader action against the visiting Jarvis Christian Bulldogs. Our own Caleb Carter has more on that story. Caleb?
Thanks, Worthington. It was a good day for baseball as the Panthers trotted out to their home opener against Jarvis Christian. More with this story in this video.
PVAMU's baseball team had its home opener this past Wednesday, taking on the Bulldogs of Jarvis Christian in a doubleheader. In the first game, it was too close for comfort as the game stretched an extra 2 innings, with PV coming away with 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to seal the game. The second game of the doubleheader came in a bit less challenging way as the Panthers walked away with a convincing 4-1 win, making this their 3rd win in a row. The Panthers now look to continue their winning ways as they stay at home and take on the Braves of Alcorn State, a weekend that is sure to provide some good baseball. This is Caleb Carter reporting for the Panther Sports Zone.
Thanks, Caleb. So this Wednesday, the Lady Panthers took on Lamar Cardinals in Beaumont, Texas in a doubleheader. Unfortunately, PV was unable to take the win, falling 6-1 in both matches to their host. A bright spot for Prairie View, Gabriel Leslie defeated her singles opponent by scores of 6-3 and 7-6 in the first match before Victoria Castillo was able to do the same in 2 sets. After today, the Lady Panthers will take on UTSA in another doubleheader next Sunday, April 3rd in San Antonio, Texas. Currently, the 88th annual PV Relays are underway here at Prairie View. Here are some of the early results from day 1 of the event. In the 1500, PV finished 1, 2, and 3 on the men's side, while Devereaux sisters Sydney and Shelby placed 1st and 3rd in the event. In the 400, Jade Sabir took home 2nd place with a time of 56:42 seconds, while senior Tim Demerit got back into the swing of things, going with a time of 48.11 seconds, good enough for the 3rd place. The nation's #1 triple jumper placed 1st in the long jump event, and Relon Jones took 3rd in the discus for the men's side in field events. The Lady Panthers were 1-3 in the pole vault event, with Masigai leading the charge with a vault of 3.35 meters. The Panthers take on day 2 of the PV Relays tomorrow, Saturday, March 26th.
Today, the Lady Panthers bowling team begins a SWAC championship where they look to repeat as back-to-back-to-back champions and earn an automatic bid in the NCAA tournament. Make sure to wish them good luck and to cheer them on as they compete in the tournament. The event can be watched on ESPNU and on bowl.tv.com. When we come back, we'll talk about Box Turo All-American selections and discuss Deion Sanders calling out the NFL. Don't go anywhere after the break.
Welcome back to Sports Zone. Starting with baseball honors, this week the Southwestern Athletic Conference has tapped Alabama State's Hunter May and Osvaldo Mendez for SWAC baseball weekly hours for their outstanding performances during this past week of play. May finished the week leading into the Hornets, hitting a .636 in a 3-game sweep of Florida A&M in conference play. He went 7 for 11 at the plate and drove in 10 runs in 3-game series. May finished with 3 doubles and a pair of home runs on the weekend while slugging a 1.455 and recording on in a base percentage of .692 against the Rattlers. Mendez came on in relief in Saturday's game and went 5.2 scoreless innings for the Hornets in the win. He did not allow a base runner in picking up the win out of the bullpen and struck out 8 batters in the process.
Now on to some Box Turo All-American selections. This weekend, BoxTuro.com announced its 2021-2022 All-American selections for Division I men's college basketball. 7 players from the SWAC were named to first and second teams, as Landon Bussey of Alcorn State shared Coach of the Year honors. FAMU's MJ Randolph, Jackson State Javius McInnes, and Alabama A&M's Jalen Johnson were named to the first team, while BCU's Joe French, Alcorn State's Justin Thomas, UAPB's Sean Williams, and our own Jawan Daniels were named to the second team. Also named the SWAC Player of the Year, Randolph impacted the Florida A&M Rattlers in all aspects of the game this past season, as he led the SWAC in points per game with 18.8, while ranking third in field goal percentage, 4th in assists per game, 4th in steals per game, 2nd in defensive rebounds per game, and 4th in rebounds per game. Randolph scored 30-plus points 3 times and 20-plus points 14 times, while earning SWAC weekly honors 5 times this season. Head coach for the Alcorn State Braves, Landon Bussey, led his team to a 14-4 overall record in league play this past season, guiding them to a SWAC regular season title and a berth in the NIT tournament. The regular season title marked the first time since 2001-2002 that Alcorn State has won a championship in men's basketball.
Now, so recently, Deion Sanders finds himself in the news again, calling out 10 NFL teams for skipping GCU's Pro Day. Like, what do you think of that situation?
Well, I kind of want to shift the conversation, like, whenever he first got there, starting out with that.
Yeah.
When, Jackson State first, hired Deion Sanders as coach, it was kind of that shockwave that, oh my goodness, he's that guy. Everyone kind of knows Deion Sanders. He kind of brought an immediate impact to the team. And it's something that for all HBCUs in general benefited, not just Jackson State. And so by him just being there and his presence, it felt like there would be more spotlight and attention. And knowing that this is Deion Sanders, it's not just about him. He's at Jackson State for that reason of being able to get his players more spotlight and attention. And that goes to, those 10 teams that weren't there. And 22 teams were there.
Right.
Let's kind of remember that, but it's not about who showed up. It's more so about who didn't show up, who, would have been at other, institutions, PWIs, and would have been able to scout their, teams, players, things like that. And it's just the fact that there wasn't even one. Right. All it takes is just one person, even if it's kind of like a cursory glance, that they're really not going to give them a shot. You might be impressed by some of the players that are out there and just say, wow, this person is really good. And it all goes back to giving them a chance and opportunities. And for HBCUs, that's really all it comes down to, just giving us that moment to show what we're capable of, because, that media attention that, Deion Sanders, when he first got there, it's about bringing more of a spotlight to the student athletes. Now, you and me are both student athletes, and just getting that opportunity.
Exactly. So, being able to just give back and, show that there's other athletes that don't go to PWIs but should have the opportunity to have that attention. And it's it really kind of gives that question of what message are they trying to send by not showing up or, not being there. Because you should be able to support all athletes, not just the ones that go to PWIs. It's about being able to show that there are great athletes that come to HBCUs. They come to HBCUs for the experience, to be able to be around the culture, be around the HBCU experience, literally. And not only is it unfair, I feel like, to athletes that come here to get that HBCU experience, but also play the sport that they love, they should still be getting the same attention as PWIs as well.
Yeah, and one of the teams, it's a team that I root for, a team that I consider to be the hometown team, Houston Texans. They're one of the teams that weren't there.
Right. And
one of the things that I find interesting connection there is that I remember a few years ago I was talking to a teammate about how there hadn't been any HBCU players been selected in the first round, and then the Houston Texans, I believe it was either in 2019 or 2020, or just sometime within the past few years, they selected a player, offensive tackle from Alabama State, one of the schools within the SWAC.
Right.
They selected Titus Howard in the first round. It's like you can give, that player an opportunity and a chance. And obviously he was one of the nation's, leading tackles, and that's why they chose him. But it's just fascinating how a team, an organization would, draft someone from a historically black college institution, and then, see like within the next few years that, not only are no HBCU products taken in the first round, but just last draft in the NFL, no HBCU talents were even taken, it seems, in like any of the rounds. So it just goes to show that discrepancy in that if you give people a chance and just a shot to be able to blossom and just be able to show off their talents, you have no idea what can possibly happen out of that.
Exactly, and it's not fair that the talents aren't shared, and they should have a voice, they should have a platform, they should be able to show off their talent, and they had the opportunity to do that, and it just sucks that there was no support, or as much support as expected there to have been, because why not support athletes? Because the only difference is the school that they decided to attend. At the end of the day, they're all athletes. They all had, I'm sure, choices. But just because of the institution or the college that they picked, the program that they decided to go to, they don't get the same exposure as somebody else. It's not fair, and I agree with that, with what you have to say.
Yeah, and just one last thing I want to say before we go to break is that whole point on exposure, which is one of the things that brings in more profits and resources. It's a cycle. The more attention that you have on your program, the more, top talents that you're able to bring in, and the more that can help your program bring in more resources, so on and so on. It's a cycle that helps itself, and I'm glad that, we have people out there like Deion Sanders just to be able to, put on that pressure, because no one's going to give you anything by saying nothing. So you have to be that voice for yourself and call out these teams, say, hey, there could at least been one person. And I remember what he said in that video, where art thou? Now, I'm not going to get, too flowery with my languages, but these teams, these, professional teams, they definitely need to be there, not just for football, not just for the NFL, but just in any professional sports at all. So whether that's baseball, whether that's basketball, maybe even soccer.
Golf.
Whether that be golf, just to be able to give us that spotlight, that attention, to be able to showcase our products and our talents and everything like that. But
I agree, especially with media being such a big thing nowadays. Everything is popular on social media, so being able to go out there and post, you can find athletes anywhere just by looking at their social media accounts. So, but yeah, that's great, and thank you guys. We'll be right back. We're gonna go to commercial.
Hello and welcome back to Panther Sports Zone. Joining us today, we have the lovely Miss Taylor Harvey. Taylor, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Worthington. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and being here. So, Iman, obviously, you're a student out there. You're on the golf team. Taylor, you're on the golf team. But this is obviously your interview, your time. I just wanted to ask you, what would you say is the hardest aspect of being a student athlete?
I would say persevering through unmotivation. I feel like it's so easy to just not want to go to class, not want to eat right, not want to go to the gym, but I feel like that's the reason that we're here, because we can do that, and just making sure that we get what we need to do done.
Especially with everything going on with the whole golf situation, golf program, I feel like it definitely is important to remember your why. And
exactly.
What is your reasoning to come to Prairie View? Speaking of whys.
So if you caught me last year, I would say Coach Jennings, and I would say that a lot of our teammates would say the same exact thing. He really did a great job just building connections with us, but unfortunately he has resigned, so that void has kind of been felt throughout the whole team, but yeah.
And then what makes you want to continue to play?
I do see a lot of improvement within the team, especially going through what we have throughout the season without having a person to support us. There's a lot of potential there, and I do feel like our women's team has done a lot so far.
All right. So I, as a person, I don't really know a lot necessarily about golf. My grandfather golfed, but that's where it kind of ends. I know the overs, the unders. The only experience I have with golf is we golf.
Okay, that's very accurate.
So for a person like me, and like for anyone else out in the audience who may not have as much experience with golf, how does the format of a general tournament work out?
Okay, yeah, so typically on Saturday we leave campus. Sunday we get to the course, have our practice rounds, usually 18 holes, if we're lucky in a cart. But Monday we have the start of our 36-hole day tournament. Iman knows how that goes. It's tiring, it's brutal, but it's all worth it. And then Tuesday we have our third round. It's full of 18 holes again, and then we get food and drive on back to campus.
Yeah, just one more quick question. So those 18 holes, like on day one, I think you said 36 holes. Is that the same? That's the same course. That's the same.
Yeah, same holes, everything.
Got you. It wouldn't make much sense to just like, oh, let's play at one, play at one golf course and let's go to another one.
No,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's not enough time for that. We go sun up, sun down.
Exactly.
And play 18, then just go wrap around, do it again.
Nice.
Yeah, but so thinking of tournament styles and everything, so how does it feel knowing that SWAC is coming up in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
But currently you guys are short a tournament for SWAC. So how does that kind of make you feel preparing for SWAC?
It's obviously a challenge. I know that admin is doing the best that they can. Our, I guess, unofficial interim CJ, he has scheduled a dual match with TSU for us to play in. I believe that's coming up this next Wednesday, so if people want to come out and support, we'd love that. But yeah, it is a little disheartening knowing that we don't have as much, I guess, time to practice and be ready, but I feel like it's just another mental hurdle that we can overcome as a team, and we'll all push each other. Yeah.
I agree.
Nice. So kind of want to go into my next question. Everyone has a different sort of reason for like why they kind of like start doing out something. For student athletes, shoot, we're all student athletes one day. I just figured that out. But for everyone, it's kind of like someone kind of pushes you to be that person that starts doing something new and like something that you've been doing obviously for a very long time. So I wanted to ask, who was that person for you in your life who influenced you to play golf?
That was definitely my dad. He got tickets to the Waste Management Phoenix Open when I was around 8. We passed by a booth in the tent. It was called the First Tee. It's been a wraps ever since, couldn't get me off the golf course. But yeah, it's definitely my dad, and he's probably the reason why. Him and my mom are probably the reason why I still play to this day.
Nice.
Yeah.
And coming to PV, so, playing golf at First Tee and then what made you want to come play at the collegiate level?
I feel like it's always just been a goal of mine since I was a young girl. So the fact that I'm here, being able to call myself a D1 collegiate athlete, it really makes me happy. I accomplished one of the goals that I've had since I was a kid. So yeah, it's amazing. And to be able to do this here, the teammates that I have, I feel like we can get the job done with SWAC this year.
Yeah, and then do you see yourself going past being a collegiate golfer, maybe going pro after college?
So I personally like to write. I do love golf as well, but I feel like if I can intertwine those two together, if my game takes me to LPGA, I'd be more than happy to do it.
Yeah, and kind of like speaking on LPGA, do you kind of like find anyone out there that you kind of like look up to or kind of like find as a major influence or someone that you kind of, not to say model your game after, like how do you model your game after 4, how do you like, but is there anyone that you kind of like follow and like just see how they do things around?
Yeah, I would say probably Nelly Corda. She was the Olympian this past Olympics. And then Lydia Ko. I definitely loved watching her play whenever they'd come out to Phoenix. Yeah, they're great golfers, great people to look up to, and they do inspire me to continue persevering through tough times. Yeah.
And then when you're getting ready for a tournament, is there any mental prep or physical prep that you like to do to get ready?
I like to hydrate. I have a habit of not drinking enough water, as a lot of people probably struggle with, but definitely eating right, just preparing myself. I also like to read my Bible to kind of calm my mind and just remember that it's not me, it's him. So yeah, that's what I like to do.
That's good.
Okay, so one of the questions that I literally have right out here was going to basically say, like, what are some challenges, you know, what are some teams that are out there in SWAC that present challenges, but, you know, I was able to talk to Iman and kind of like see that there's only like 2 other teams basically that are playing Texas Southern, Alabama State. So I wanted to ask, what's it like basically playing, you know, seeing them in basically all the tournaments that you play and like going on and against them like repetitive times?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely lights a fire in me. Seeing the same girls that, I mean, I feel like if I get my game right, I can beat everybody. But I feel like that's just the mentality that you have to have as a collegiate athlete. But I want to beat them. All of us want to beat them, and I feel like we are definitely trying to gear towards just getting the job done, getting SWAC.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a good thing that we like to remember that it's not necessarily like us just trying to, it's like we know, like, yeah, there's competition, but at the end of the day, we know as a team, if we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to end up on the top. Like, it's more of a, like, they're out there playing their game, but it's an individual sport at the end of the day, and we know we have a great game. So it's like being able to just be out there and, you know, put your best foot forward. But for that, like, not even that, but also, do you think that there will be more like, do you hope that the conference would be bigger, that they have more competition other than just 2 other teams?
Yeah, I feel like as we, as golfers within our conference, continue to get better, more competition will show itself, and it'll just be more people to play against and just kind of, I guess, level each other out, you know. But at the end of the day, like Iman said, it's really up to you. It's the work that you put in, and the results will show.
Yeah,
sure.
Kind of like going with that question that I asked you, the last question that I asked you, are there any like specific people like on those teams, like on Alabama State or Texas Southern, that you kind of like say, next time I might not have gotten you today, but next time, like, are there any like specific people?
Yeah.
All right.
So one of the girls on TSU, probably the #1 player, Rev, I actually played in a junior world tournament with her when I was like 11 or 12. So I've known her for a long time. I've gotten her a few times, but she's definitely gotten me. But I'm putting an end to that. No, I want to win.
It is her last season. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And talk about a small world.
Exactly.
The golf community is a very knit group.
From like Arizona to the Philippines, like that's, who would have known in Houston, Texas, we'd reunite. But,
the rivals are back at it.
All this rivalry. Wow. I didn't know that golf could get so intense.
No,
I just thought it was just
4.
That's the only action. That's all I got in my repertoire.
Hey, your Wii golf form is pretty good. I like
my
it.
Wii golf form is excellent. You know, it gets me that under 18. No, that's not possible.
I mean,
but anyways,
under par is the goal.
yeah,
under par. Okay, so that's okay.
Yes.
That's a lingo.
Yeah, so 72 or lower is the goal. But also, you also are excited for, you know, you have 3 years left because of, you know, you got a year off and you also have extra year because of COVID.
Yeah.
So you actually do have quite a bit more time to play, considering you only played 1 year last year.
Yeah.
So for this new coach coming in, is there anything that you're looking forward to or anything that you liked from Coach Jennings that you hope to see in the new coach?
I'd like to see, just that he wants to see us improve, not only on the golf course, but as people. One of the things that I really liked about Coach Jennings is that he saw the best in everybody, and he wanted them to put their best foot forward in everything that they do. So just being very, I guess, supportive of our team, especially going through a period where we haven't felt that for the past 2 semesters now without having a coach. So it's been very difficult, but if we can get that with this new coach, I think a lot of us will be very happy.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of travel goes into golf, and I wanted to ask if that plays any, if that factors into playing golf and going and competing in these tournaments.
For sure. I feel like it's very mentally draining and physically draining. But at the end of the day, I really can't complain. We get to travel, we get to eat free food, I guess, play beautiful courses. So it's really a privilege, and I'm very grateful that we all get to experience it.
Yeah, and then what about the, when you do return, you gotta, work.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the day after tournaments, yeah, it's brutal. Having to get up at like 8, I mean, it's not even that bad, but just having to go to class despite being jet lagged or just beyond tired, it is hard, but I feel like at the end of the day, like, it's only making you better and just preparing you for the actual real world. So yeah, it's nice.
I agree. I feel like it is. It's hard for sure, but it's also, we came here for that.
Exactly. Like, this is what we signed up for. It's probably in the contract somewhere, but yeah.
Probably should read those.
No facts.
Nice. I think maybe, Mon, you already asked Taylor this, but I wanted to, specifically touch on, like, if not, going pro, what specifically do you kind of, like, want to do after college?
Okay, yeah. So like I mentioned before, I really like writing, so much so to the fact that I came up with my own blogging website. So it's called Taylor Harvey Made Golf, if y'all want to check that out. I really just want to share like my passion for golf and also my passion for Jesus as well. So yeah, I feel like before I used to want to write for Golf Digest, which I'd still love to do, but I feel like I want to be my own boss and kind of do my own thing and kind of let that take me where it leads me.
Exactly. So please go support Taylor's blog, okay? We support our own Panthers around here.
Exactly.
We really do have to support our own Panthers. And just this last question for me, I don't know, Iman, if you might have another question.
You're good.
But last question for me that I wanted to ask is, we've had a lot of we've had student athletes on here before. I just wanted to ask, what kind of like makes golf like different from like other, student athletes and like what they might have to go through?
Okay, yeah. So as y'all may or may not know, golf does not have a facility on campus. So we do have to travel, spend money out of our own pockets just to get better, to bring home trophies for this school. Also, we don't have a coach, so it's very hard to kind of just motivate yourself and drive to the golf course, really work on your own game, especially when you don't have someone that's guiding you to do things that you need to do. But yeah, I would say that despite all of that, our team has done a really great job of getting what we need to do done. And I feel like I've said before, the work will show itself, and I'm just very proud of all of us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Very much for being on here. I feel as if, with Coach's Corner earlier today at 3, from 3:30.
Yes.
Today,
Check that out on Friday.
every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sorry, quick plug. I feel like we, double dib with golf. But it was good to get both the men's side and both your side as well being on the women's team.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed my time with both of y'all.
Thank you so much. I learned so much today about golf.
Yes.
Hey, your Wii golf
everybody
scores
watching is watching
I don't even
and
know
learning.
if I have a Wii. I don't think I have a Wii anymore.
Oh gosh.
I don't know where it is.
Hey, Top Golf.
Hey, Top Golf.
Yes, Top Golf. Everyone says it's a lovely place. Everyone says it's a good place.
The food is as well, so
yes, you can have fun out there for sure.
Exactly.
But yes, so hopefully everybody watching, you heard it here first from one of our very own golfers here. And thank you for watching, and please tune in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So thank you for coming, and this is Panther Spawn. I'm Iman Abraham.
I'm Worthington Moore.
And we are signing out.